I remember that one moment when I attended a live comedy show with my mother and siblings, and there was this open floor. They asked persons from the audience who wants to come and share a joke. And of course, at that time, Candice, who loves the stage and loves being able to connect with audiences, decided she had a joke to share. Got up there, forgot what I was going to say, and I said something that brought a lot of shame to me. And I felt that if I shared that shame, I would get persons to laugh. But in fact, the audience did the complete opposite. They just stared at me with a blank stare, saying, "Why is she even on the stage?" So, on top of sharing my shame story, thinking it would be funny enough for everybody to laugh, I came off the stage with my head down, feeling embarrassed. I said to myself, I will never go and share my shame story again in life. Little did I know, it's actually in the shame stories that bring certain revelations that the person in the audience is most likely or more likely to resonate with because your story is authentic, it's real. So I want to talk about today, y'all. Read the thumbnail. We want to look at how can I speak my story without feeling shame and fear. Big disclaimer: shame and fear, it is managed. Sometimes it never really dies. It stays there until it may be triggered or we mismanage something that we say or something that somebody else says. It really, really affects us. So it's important for us to understand a couple of things. Now, I really love the Bible because it's a book of great speeches, great words, great concepts and principles. And it says in Revelation 12:11 that they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. One of the things I want you to understand is this. And of course, I've made a couple of notes because I've been thinking through this long and hard. And I really want you to get value out of this series. So, the first thing I've realized is the more I shared my shame or fear story, those stories that evoke a lot of shame and fear personally, those were the talks that gave me that power to share it again, stronger, a second, third, and fourth time. Your testimony, every time is shared, silences shame. I want to repeat that. Your testimony, every time it is shared, silences your shame. So guess what? If you have to share it in another forum with a different group of persons and your audience, you don't have to feel the same intensity of shame because guess what? You would have already shared it before and you know how it feels as the words are coming out of your mouth, as the words are coming from a deep place. You know how to handle it. So, sharing your shame testimony or your story and sharing consistently, it really kills fear eventually. It really does. The second thing is, do you remember the story in the Bible of Peter walking on water? Well, that formed some of the framework for which I teach in my speaker training classes. So two things that happened: Peter was distracted by the wind and the waves. So, my second point to you is ignore the wind and the waves. What is the wind and the waves? The wind, it's all the voices in your head or around you telling you that you should be afraid or you should be ashamed. When that wind blows, you need to find ways of reframing, blocking, switching, finding different techniques of ignoring or embracing the winds. So The wind of persons outside are saying, the noises, they are saying, who are you to speak on this topic? You should be ashamed to share this story. Who are you to speak in front of this particular audience? You are not qualified. When the wind starts to blow, you know how to block it. You know how to deal with it. The second part of point two is not just to ignore the winds, but the waves. What are the waves? The waves are the waves of emotion. Now, in training, in practicing, in rehearsing, in speaking more, you get to realize that certain emotions, when they come up, you know how to catch it, you know how to arrest it, you know how to control these emotions and ride the waves of these emotions so that persons could connect with you in a more vulnerable and authentic way. And finally, what I want to share with you in terms of looking at how can I speak my story without feeling shame and fear is this idea of focusing on the word. If Peter just focused on the word that Christ said to come, or he focused on the word, the power of the word to come, because he knew who was calling him forth to walk on water, that'll be different. That would have been an entirely different experience. So that is what I want you to keep in your mind. How can I focus more on the words that I'm saying so that I can relate and deliver with impact and influence? Because once you focus on the words that you are delivering and how you're delivering it, it is going to eventually silence the wind, the voices, and the waves, the emotions. So I hope this was helpful for you. Drop in the comments any questions you may have around sharing your fear story and shame story. Some of my clients say, Candace, my shame story, it deals with certain individuals and I don't want to expose their identity and their names. And there's a way to get around that. So if you are ready to share your shame and fear story because there's power in it to transform and shift somebody's mindset, I want you to send me an email. I want you to reach out to me. Follow me on Instagram at Speak with Candace. Send me a DM and let's start talking so that I can help you to share your story with confidence, clarity, and conviction. Have a good one. See you soon. This was Speak with Candace, and we are doing a special series just for you.